Hey nerds, I've been seeing a lot of tutorials on how to get to A-1000. And frankly, it doesn't look like a lot of people actually understand how the rooms work. It seems like a lot of these YouTubers are just watching other people's videos and inferring from there. What I mean by that is, they haven't actually beaten the rooms themselves. Main credit goes to Esolorio for inspiring me to actually go through all 1000 rooms. The issue here is, Esolorio, despite having shown the full run, is getting less recognition than other YouTubers who simply say full walkthrough, then die at room 200. No shade towards clickbaiters, we all need to eat, but the views should be going where deserved. Anyway, enough delay. Let me show you everything you need to know to get to A-1000. Contrary to nobody's belief, this part right here is extremely important. Every single tutorial out there will tell you just buy lockpicks, that's all you need. They're liars, all of them. Buy a flashlight too, trust me, you will be grateful. There's no need to worry about how many knobs you spend. If you follow my steps and at least get halfway into the rooms, you'll make them back. Maybe, you'll even profit. That funky little tablet is our reward for the 1000-room escapade. Unfortunately, as I learned before, it is bugged if you use it in a run other than the one you escaped in. It is not game-breakingly useful, but it turns door 100 into a cakewalk, so it certainly has some use. This is very important. Make sure you open every cabinet, extra door, and chest. Not only are we going to need a certain amount of coins, we will need a surplus in order to make back our 150 knobs. Plus, there is a chance we can get some lesser items, vitamins, more lockpicks, and a lighter as backup, but also much more useful things like a crucifix, or maybe even a skeleton key. What I meant by extra doors was the ones unrelated to the next room. They have no number plates, no wooden planks, and the middle isn't cracked. These doors lead to a small room. Said room can contain a chest, a locked chest, a closet, or a cabinet. Ideally, you want a chest. A locked chest is a close second. Theoretically, they have a higher chance of spawning higher quality items than regular chests do. However, the downside is that it requires a lockpick, and a higher quality item is not guaranteed. This is why we want extra lockpicks, so we can gamble safely. Yes, a locked chest can contain a lockpick and another, more valuable item, but it is a high risk low reward scenario, as, if you fail in getting a lockpick, you will not have any way to get to the rooms. Earlier, I mentioned we'd need a minimum amount of coins. The actual minimum is 250. If you bought the flashlight and lockpicks, there's nothing you need but the skeleton key. I'm saving 500 minimum here because the crucifix is always useful, especially after you exit the rooms.
I apologize for the interruption. I have a few things to mention. One, make sure you watch the whole way through. There are very important tips I've left near the end so that you can see what I'm talking about as it happens. Secondly, I just got back from a huge hiatus, so a like would be incredibly appreciated. The algorithm probably doesn't like me right now, so your support would overturn. If you want, subscribe, though most of my videos aren't tutorials. Also, let me know what you think of the text-to-speech. My mic broke a while back and I don't have a suitable replacement yet, so I hope this is better than a silent video.
Once you exit, you'll still have to do about 40 more doors. You're not even guaranteed to get to the 100th door. So a crucifix could save your life. If you get high coin luck, you'll be able to make back your knobs super easily. If you make it into the rooms, it's pretty much guaranteed. This is why you should keep your lockpicks and buy a flashlight, because this can contain a flashlight, a lockpick, both, or neither. Also, don't be greedy. Keep your coins so you won't have wasted 150 knobs. As far as I remember, door 60 will always be the one that leads to the rooms. However, the door responsible for opening the gate is usually in door 61. You can tell which room it is because it's the one with the gate that requires you to go underground. There is only one lever, and it opens both door 61's gate and door 60's gate. All you have to do when you pull it is go to the previous room. Welcome to the rooms. I'll probably be narrating throughout the entire run. There are many things everyone should know. Firstly, buy this flashlight. Every time you use the item, by clicking or tapping, the flashlight charges slightly. You can click as many times as you want. It might look like it's useless, but, should your flashlight run out, you have a backup. Moreover, once you get back to doors, your flashlight will most likely die. So this flashlight is invaluable, since it technically can't run out of battery. The reason I'm slowing down and looking around is because every room is incredibly important to your safety. Take your time and study every new room. Remember the layout and where the lockers are. The most important parts, however, are the spawning properties of each room. Mind you, this is all theory. Firstly, entities can only spawn in rooms with lockers. Even in single player, I have never had an entity spawn in a one locker room. I will explain the entities and their spawn criteria as they appear in the run. Secondly, when I describe the rooms themselves, I will say no entities can spawn, but this does not include A-90. A-90 can spawn whenever it wants. It has no concrete spawning requirements. This is the storage room. It has no lockers. No entities can spawn here. The reason why no entities can spawn is deduced by analyzing each entity separately. A-60 can spawn when the player opens a door to a room with lockers inside. To put it simply, A-60 spawns when you enter a room with lockers. Oppositely, A-120 spawns when you leave a room with lockers. That is to say, if the player is in a room with lockers, and they open the door to the next room, A-120 can spawn. This is the glorified office space. It has 4 lockers. Entities can spawn here. This is the reverse hell room. It has no lockers. No entities can spawn here. The game incentivizes you to bring a flashlight because, along with heaps of coins, batteries are abundant in the rooms. This is a 3-locker room. There are, surprisingly, 3 lockers. Entities can spawn here. This is the L room, with the same properties as the reverse. This is a 3-pillar room. It has 2 lockers. Entities can spawn here. This is a 1-locker room. Theoretically, no entities can spawn here. By the way, despite the names of the entities, there is proof that they can spawn before their names. I've had A-60 spawn in room 38, A-90 in room 38, and A-120 in room 100 something. Speaking of which, A-90 likes to spawn with other entities, which includes an early A-60. Don't let your guard down. This is the 4-locker room. Entities can spawn here. This is the reverse 3-pillar room. Despite being the same room layout twice, It is very important that you remember it exists, as the only difference is that the lockers are on opposite sides of the room. The difference can mean death if you forget. This is the true locker room. It has a ton of lockers, but it only has 5 working lockers. Right now, you can tell because they are darker than the broken ones. In the dark, however, you won't be able to tell, so it's important to remember their positions. Strategically, only 2 lockers matter, the one to the left of the entrance, and the one to the left of the exit. These provide quick access to a locker as soon as you hear an entity spawn. This is just a hallway. There is something very important I forgot to mention. As you just saw, the door to enter the storage room was not centered. Most often, the door to enter the room will not be in the same place. This is why it's important to remember the room's layout entirely, not just from one perspective. This is a conference room. It has 4 lockers. Entities can spawn here. Here the halfway mark is probably the best place to talk about this. As you may have noticed, A50 is much darker than A0. It is very subtle at first, but the rooms are getting progressively darker. At around A120, when A120 spawns, is when the rooms will become near pitch black. They lack the fog that doors has, but it's still near impossible to see. This is A60. There's nothing particularly special about A60. It works exactly like Crush. It spawns a few rooms back, and goes a room or 2 past the one it was triggered in. Even though it looks like it appeared when I exited, this is not the case. If I was in a room without lockers, and it appeared, it would be because the next room had lockers. In this clip, I chose to return an inner locker in the previous room, since it was closer and I already knew the layout of the room. Most often, this is safer than going to the next room and frantically looking for a locker. Also, there is no entity that works like hide, so feel free to stay in the locker from the moment you hear the buzz until it's gone. This is the break room. It actually has 1 locker, the fridge. No entities can spawn here. This is A90, the true challenge of the rooms. It is horrifically random and cruel. Presumably, after A90, it can appear whenever it wants, but that is not the true issue. Regardless of the entity that spawns, A90 can choose to spawn in the midst of the chase with the pure intention to catch you while you're rushing to a locker. A90 attacks if the player makes any input, not just moving around. Walking, moving your camera, getting into a locker, etc. I'm sure someone at Splash had some kind of merciful soul, because the developers have added a caveat to the cruelty. A90 only does 90% of your health, so you do have a second chance if it ever hits you. There are absolutely no bandages in the rooms, so you get 2 chances, and that's it. Frame-by-frame analysis reveals that A-90 has a few stages. First, it appears on your screen. Then, it moves to the center, and a bright red stop sign appears briefly. Finally, the stop sign disappears, your screen is filled with a red haze, and A-90 stares. Then, it disappears, and a quick buzz is left. You can either listen for the audio cue, or stop the moment anything shifts on your screen. Either way, you will not have much time to react. I'm not sure when it hits you, but from personal experience, it seems that the first and second stages are safe. Most likely, the final stage is when it will hit you. However, it is extremely recommended that you do not rely on memory. That confidence led me to lose a 900-room run. At A-100 is usually when I turn on my flashlight, but you're free to turn it on whenever you like. Just make sure you're looking for batteries. I almost forgot, this is the office. There are no lockers. No entities can spawn here. This is A-120. It's a rather unique entity. Contrary to popular belief, A-120 is not just a reverse A-60. In this specific room, funnily enough, you can technically do in plain sight, as A-60 cannot kill you if you are not on the top floor. As far as I know, A-120, however, has homing capabilities. It travels right to the player, where it will kill you, unless you are in a locker, of course. Moreover, its paths can vary. I'll pause every time a new path shows up. You are only truly safe from this entity when you hear the sound completely cut out. If you want to be even more secure, count it in once it comes up to your locker. You can count to 11 if you want to be perfectly safe. Listening closely is very important for this entity, as even the drums that play when it spawns are quieter than the other entities. This does not mean turn your volume all the way up, since A-90 would love to shatter your eardrums. Out of all the runs I've done, this lack of battery luck is an outlier, but that's exactly why we brought this glow stick. Welcome to the exit room. Or, rather, an exit room. Multiple of these spawn in the rooms. After room 200, usually every 100 rooms, an exit has a chance to spawn. You can tell one is nearby because the soothing music can be heard from a room or two away. Leaving through one of these grants you the back on track badge and allows you to resume doors, but you will not get a 1000. Do not start cheering and virtually dancing. A-90 cannon will appear here. Dance once you're back in the normal game. Now is as good a time as any to address a big misconception about the rooms. There is no concrete evidence that, as you go through more rooms, there are more entities. In the runs I've watched and done, the entity count has remained completely random. Do not stress about the difficulty, just remain calm and power through. Speaking of powering through, the average run will take 2 hours. Doors is not a perfect game. Sometimes, there are bugs or glitches, and some have said bugs or glitches can ruin your gaming experience. Unfortunately, a cosmic ray from space decided to strike the Doors server I was in and ruin my recording session. I know I made a whole speech about not making it through the rooms, so it's a good thing I recorded myself beating a 1000 in the rest of the game. If you'd like to see that, check out the video that should be going on screen now, the Doors 1. Alas, I cannot show you what happens when you return to the normal game. I can tell you that you will be in the church infirmary place. You'll keep the items, coins, and health you left with, and any players that died but remain spectating should be revived. Good luck, runner.